I mean, we're starting it off here with someone I think a lot of people are rooting for. Seeing Corvinus' name here, we saw last week he did not make it all the way through to those qualifying rounds, but this week he's coming in strong and he looks ready for this. But we've seen Scarlet Devil. This man can take down the best of the best and then all of a sudden lose to someone not all the way up there. So I'm wondering if Scarlet Devil has found his footing to actually solidify a little seat on the table of the top 16 on the road to Wololo. So, yes, KP, we have our first matchup here, and since we're going to be hopping in pretty soon, we see a little bit of a Rus versus French and a Golden Horde snipe.
Yeah.
Definitely not on my bingo card.
Well, that's because Corvinus' brain isn't on anyone's bingo card. This guy, he just whipped out this play yesterday with a anti-Dark Age Rush strat into a 2TC boom to boot Lash out on the first day of the second qualifier. So, yeah, he's vicious. You have to think different when you think Corvinus because you can just see it by his draft. Like, he just takes every single new Civ right now. It's very unorthodox. He doesn't look to toe the line like everyone else does, and that's a very scary advantage to have at this skill level, going into the unknown, going into a critical qualifier like this as we go into game number 1. Corvinus will be on that Rus, but on Borderland, it can mean something else. While Scarlet Devil takes the French, if he took his eyeballs across to Corvinus' series yesterday, he needs to be a little bit aware of the possibility of a Rus proxy base right next to his own.
KP, you're so lucky you got to cast these ones live already to understand exactly what Corvinus is cooking. For a second there, the UI was showing that Corvinus was going for Wheelbarrow in Dark Age, and for a second I was just like, what? Is he completely reinventing everything? But luckily, for our mental sake, it was just Scarlet Devil on a standard old French. But seeing Rus making a bit of a comeback in a little bit of an unorthodox way is quite refreshing, because we remember the time when Rus was all about horse archer spam and then all about 2TC knight spam into horse archer spam again. We have seen a lot of sides of the Rus, but we haven't seen a lot of success with Rus for quite a bit now. So at this level, I think Corvinus can definitely throw anyone off their game when he gets into his zone.
Yeah, I think it's like an interesting one to see how he's going to develop this, because the matchup I was referencing, it was against Lash, I believe. It was Byzantines versus Rus, and it was insane. He just walked over, Wooden Fortress dropped at the start of the age. French is a little bit different, so I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't go that way. In fact, he's already gone for a more greedy opening. You saw the triple Hunting Cabin beginning. Cool thing about the Hunting Cabin change, it actually felt like a buff on this map, because Borderland has these intentionally smaller tree lines, ergo you should get less bang for buck out of them, ergo you want more cabins to kind of get the similar value you would on a map like Dry Arabia. So yeah, it's a pretty nice kind of pivot that we're seeing ever since the cost got reduced from 100 to 75 wood.
I'm honestly surprised to see that triple hunting cabin opening. And is this something you've seen from the other players as well? Or is this just something Corvinus is?
This is a little bit rarer. I think it depends on the map, because if you think of Dry Arabia, the schematic of that, like you've got 2 tree lines, one's further away. Here, usually the 3 tree lines are fairly clustered, with just one being slightly further off. So it doesn't feel as inefficient, especially when you consider just how much you can minimize the walk distance by garrisoning in and out of the TC.
Now, that's pretty interesting, because I think, again, this is one of those crazy things that Corvinus will just sit down with this little book and calculate and say, is this worth it? And if Corvinus builds it, you know there is some truth to it. So, standard little golden age, or golden gate coming up with School of Cavalry from the side of Scarlet Devil. Now, we want to think about what this looks like in the early game, how this plays out between the two. Now, Corvinus is playing a civ that has knights themselves, so usually when you're up against knight versus knight, French reigns supreme in the long run, but Corvinus still has a pretty good answer in that early stages of the game, if he decides to go for the stable build instantly, especially considering all the gold he's getting is going to be passive.
It's true, but at the end of the day, the problem you run into there is if you never have a way of pinning your opponent, those French knights are going to heal up, you're not, right? Like, that's the tricky predicament. That's why whenever I watch Rus French, if I just see raw knights, it just feels like you're giving a win over to French. Especially with their scaling economy on top of that. It just lights a fire under your ass, which is why it usually feels better to do things like, racks opening, then maybe you go for stables, or maybe go for a full infantry type comp. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see some knights, but I would be surprised if it's his primary focus. It also comes down to whether he wants pro scouts here. With triple hunting cabin, there is the potential for those knights, but it also just makes the achievement of cracking pro scouts all that much easier.
Yeah, that's usually the question that French has for themselves on this map as well. How quickly do I get to go for pro scouts? Because usually you open with that first knight into pro scouts, and Scarlet Devil is going to be able to have that type of presence. But now there's a civ against you that also likes to do the same. Although Corvinus is not on the side of having a lot of resources to be able to do so. Right now, we see a majority of his villagers moving over there to wood and trying to secure that area there. But is that a tower that they're placing down there?
It's not a hunting cabin, isn't it? That placement? Okay, no, it is a tower really far. I was about to say, I don't think he's a hunting cabin, but that tower is very far up, which is weird because now his east side tree line feels very exposed.
Yeah, at the same time, that tower is just going to ensure that the villagers do have a safe place to garrison themselves in when the first knight lands. And him building it with 4 shows you how aware he is of this timing. Now, usually the timing is a lot scarier because French will usually go for that knight instantly. But in this case, Scarlet Devil, he gave Corvinus that little bit of breathing room by just going for that scout investment. We see that pro scouts almost finishing up, and Scarlet Devil is standing in position to already deal with this. The thing is, Corvinus is nowhere near even thinking about going for a pro scouts. So he needs to find an answer to shutting down all these free deer going to the base of Scarlet Devil.
It should be spear spam, but it's going to feel really slow. But interesting thought. I think Corvinus is trying to be pretty crafty here. Like that wooden fortress placement, I think he's intentionally placed it in the least likely position to get scouted. The idea being when that first knight comes in, you're going to hug around the tree line, right? The negative of these tree lines, they're very small, so you get ambushed very easily. But the positive here is as your opponent circulates in, he's already going to be in the outpost range, and it allows you to bait him all the way in. So I think that was part of the idea of the placement, because why else would you place it on the backside of an exposed tree line that's solo instead of placing it on the forward to receive the knights harassing sooner?
Makes a lot of sense. And we can see here this little bit of pressure that Scarlet Devil is putting on with just that scout attacking. He's forcing a villager to move out, and that's exactly what French likes to have, because villagers too far away from the base is just going to mean someone who takes a lance to the face. So these two now just burning the hunting cabin, knowing that they're possibly not going to be charging in anywhere without losing too much HP. Corvinus getting a lot of spears out here, but Scarlet, what I like about this, he's not over-investing into the scouts too much. He's making a ton of knights as quickly as he can. And look at that beautiful micro, just baiting out the brace and pulling back out.
It should just be raw French scaling into knights here, right? Like with pro scouts behind it. I mean, the onus really is on Corvinus to do something. And the problem is you can't rush out to stop pro scouts because it's knights. So what are you going to do? You're going to guard maybe one deer pack, but then your base could get dove. Or you need to find a way of guarding your base and multiple deer packs. Like, it's just too much for a small counter spearman to do. So he's really just kind of stuck here watching. However, he did go for that sneak to the north side. Walls are coming up. So he's taking advantage of the fact that Scarlet Devil will want the central deer first, considering you lose less food walking those back, and there's also more deer in the center than there are in the corners.
Well, we have to keep in mind, this wall is going to take a pretty long time to erect.
Yeah.
And we can see some yellow or red dots moving their way towards the top here. Now, knights don't have a lot of vision, but they are going to be able to run into them if he decides to go check all his deer packs that are supposed to be just for him. But now these knight numbers are increasing, and the spearman numbers have slowed down. So we see Corvinus already edging himself towards a different style of play here, going for the castle age. And I'm a little worried, because when you are up against this many knights, how are you going to stop that with just 6 spears?
Castle turrets would be the answer out here, but he hasn't gone for it. He saved no stone at all. Abbe's Trinity's coming in. This is the way that Corvinus likes to play this. A lot of juiced value in those warrior monks. Very tanky on the 120 resources, but you see the problem here. He doesn't have enough workers out in this area. He doesn't have castle turrets. He hasn't purchased across. So the DPS out of this, not that threatening. He's going to have to be clutch with his repair timing. He's kind of relying on the fact that maybe Scarlet Devil won't be paying attention for it.
And this is usually where you can outmaneuver against these knights when you are hiding in a tower. And these guys hiding deep inside, we see a knight running by a villager building a wall, not noticing a thing. So Scarlet Devil's attention is going to be a little bit split as he hears that castle age coming up. First thing Corvinus does with the age up is absolutely nothing because the resources were just not in the bank for it. But the spears are moving into position. They are going to push these knights off for now. We'll see if this is going to be enough.
He finds the quick wall attempt. He snipes out the other workers. So -2 workers trying to get those walls up. And these knights happy to contest this. It's only 6 hardened spears against more in French knights. You're never winning that fight. And look at this. There was no attempt to repair the outpost through all of that from Corvinus. He's not going to find the food. He's not going to find a damn thing. That's a pre-10-minute GG. And Scarlet Devil reminds you that going Castle Age is never that easy.
I have not seen such a quick surrender in such an important match in a very long time, KP.
I mean,
But
it's
Corvinus,
crazy.
he knew once he lost those 4 villages, there's no coming back because French is already so far ahead with their villages they have on their list. We do see a little bit of a different score chart here, so if you guys see those names, don't get confused. We're still here with Scarlet Devil and Corvinus. Right now, we're just seeing the glorious names of the others for now. And there we go, popping right out. Corvinus not able to take Scarlet down with his ruse, but he still has a lot more firepower in his draft.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to start unloading it fast, though. Like, he needs to be careful of the momentum logic here, right? Like, sometimes when you just get stuck in a rut, it gets worse and worse type thing. In Scarlet, he's got to be feeling very confident after a win like that. He just made it look so clean and easy, and just kind of proved to Corvinus that these creative attempts he takes at civs aren't going to be taken for free, right? Like, who moves out into the Northern Deer like that? It's more of a rare choice. Roost out of those two would have been the expected party to be going pro scouts. You would have thought Scarlet would be reacting to it, but his reaction was perfect. He didn't waste any time at all. And, well, when you look at that again, I'm starting to see what Scarlet's strategy is here. He's banning away the new civs intentionally. He's trying to keep the game as orderly as possible. That's why he banned out Golden Horde, but allowed Rus on a map like Borderland of all things. And he's doing the same now, allowing the Byzantines, something he would have had a lot more practices versus.
And with Byzantines, a lot of players have been saying, no, we are not letting Byzantines out on any draft. So banning Golden Horde yet again is, I guess, just going against what Corvinus would want. So Scarlet Devil reading him like a book here, but at the same time, Corvinus is a spicy boy. He might have a plan up his sleeve here too. Now, you have to consider he's playing against an HRE. Sniping out the English, which, I mean, I haven't seen an English sniped in a pretty long time, but now we're seeing a little bit more play of English on a select few maps. But HRE, I'm kind of excited to see what this looks like on front range. So if you do get out of that early game economy and actually are able to punish Byzantines, I don't know what this looks like 1-to-1 anymore. This used to be a pretty common matchup, but with the snipe system, we're not seeing that so much anymore. What have you seen in your events?
It's on this map, I think it's a bit of a rarer dabbling, but like the reality is the way you should be playing this is mine work, right? Like HRE mine work is incredible. This is probably one of the best maps for mine work they have in the entire game. For a start, the boars in the center means that you don't really want to keep your economy at home. There's not much food, so an Arden's already devalued. The tree lines are really small, and the gold veins are incredibly small, right? So, like, there isn't this pristine Aachen, like, for example, when you play Prairie, a comparative map when you think about the tree lines, you've got an 8k gold there, you know you could get 20 sheep. Here, you're going to get 3 deer, 9 sheep, and a 1600 gold. That's not great, but mine work allows you to play upfield into your opponent's face, utilizing the boar as you go. And the beautiful thing about this map, it rewards aggression because the whole idea is you are linearizing the process of defending and attacking. So, you just think of it as like a power line, right? It's a tug of war. And if I'm pushing further up, my economy is on that line as well. It means I don't have to worry about sending 5 spearmen to the north side of the map to guard or an outpost up there. I just have everyone close by, and especially with HRE's marching drills, they're always able to react.
That is probably the most interesting way I've ever heard someone talking about front range, and it makes a lot of sense. I think for a lot of players, they see a map like front range, you see the boar, and you're like, well, that's a bit risky. It's right there at my opponent's base. But yeah, so are you. And now you're just going to be able to reinforce everything from a very short distance. And I think in this case, you're up against a civilization that doesn't necessarily have that mobility in the early game anyway. They want to get a little bit greedy in their base. They want to get that cistern level up to make sure that the economy is absolutely busted. So HRE, though, a civilization that has done pretty well at shutting down Byzantines. Do we see any barracks openings on a map like Front Range, usually?
Definitely. Because it's exposed resources. Also, it just leans into the idea that I'm going to have units to be present so I can go for the valuable boar, right? So, like an outpost rush here, definitely not off the tables. I wouldn't be surprised for Corvinus to be going Hippodrome strats here, just to kind of change things around and get those berries early on. Because if you can't get access to the initial berries, it means you're not going to have a counter to mass archers, right? So, like, you need to get up to the 8 Jav count to really feel confident. That's easier said than done. And the other thing that makes the outpost rushes and just overall aggro feel really good, that point I made about the resources at the start being small, that strips the defenders advantage because it means you have to come out sooner. And the Byzantines are also predictable because the berries always spawn on the south side of this map, right? So you have your starting berries, and then everything else hugs the southeastern side of the map. There's no variance there, right? It's not like you can walk up north and wall off and then be safe. You're in like very open territory. So yeah, aggression wins for these type of reasons about like 9 times out of 10.
Well, Corvinus is definitely someone who is good at aggression. And in unorthodox ways, like you said, with the Hippodrome opening, we're not seeing a lot of it. And I think on a small map like this, you also wouldn't expect it clearly. But when you're up against the civilization that would benefit from being out there and then has that initial advantage with the mine work, and the mine work, it just saves you so many resources. So just the fact that you don't need to invest in a blacksmith, your upgrades are cheaper, it already puts you into such a good spot to being the aggressor. I'm excited to see a little bit of feudal HRE play and someone actually shutting down Byzantines and all their mighty little cisterns spreading around the map. But as we're going to be going in a little bit deeper, I want to just take a look at the draft for a second, because we actually have a little bit of a different priority of a ban here. Scarlet Devil instantly going for the Malians and the Ottoman ban against... Oh, sorry, those are the ones that are banned against him. So Corvin is banning those two first. And Malians, it's been banned, but it hasn't been a first pick ban in a while. So Scarlet Devil, I mean, Corvinus respects what this man can do on Malians, because we've seen what he can do with knights.
Yeah, I mean, Malian's just been rising constantly. I don't think this Civ has felt like they're on a downslope at all. Even with the recent slight adjustments around like the cow, it didn't seem to hit them at all. The Sofa are just too good, right? And they can make sense even on maps like Front Range. Weirdly enough, despite all this talk about Boar, the exception has really usually been Malians. Some people try English 2TC. I think that's why Corvinus banned that from Scarlet, by the way. I think last time we saw him, might have been against Baltoon. He tried a 2TC build and died to a knight. I think we were casting that one. So
yes, it was lovely. It was a great experience. Thanks for taking me back.
I don't think he wants to go back. So this is probably a good thing for him. But, you know, he probably felt more confident because he had Japan. So that couldn't have been a threat point for him at all. So yeah, but like Corvinus is... I'm also curious about his Knights Templar pick because he won't necessarily pick on Frisian. He might throw it out on Dry Arabia.
He didn't pick Ottomans. That was the biggest shock for me. The Ottomans is not banned against Corvinus, and you see the maps we have in front of us. These ones are very friendly towards something like the Ottomans, but we do have a sheep noise clinging at the back. And ladies and gents, let's go on in. Scarlet Devil, he's out on a mission, and he's going straight for the food.
It's Pumba time, baby. Everyone wants that pig, but please tell me Corvinus is dancing with him here. He is. No, hear me out. Cistern. Build the cistern. Because here's the thought, right? If you have the cistern here, you have Acrotoys and Ace up your sleeve. I was wondering if he's going to do this because we never see it. So he's going to let him park himself at the mill. Numbers are on his side, but the problem is the prelate. So you really do need the cistern here to make this work.
Oh, Corvinus is just standing still thinking about this.
He's waiting for the commitment. Like he's waiting for the commitment and maybe like a lull of security, but goes in with the sheaves straight off the prelate. It's the only thing you can go for here that makes sense. But the problem is you're not very fast.
Oh, those villagers are running their little legs empty, and these poor guys are losing HP along the way. The problem is this is going to be 6 villagers, sure, but 5 full HP villagers against 6 is going to fare pretty well. The prelate does get chased away, but this just means Corvinus is completely idle in his eco, except for the new villagers coming out of the TC.
He's trying to body block. He can't body block it though. Like this, Scarlet has just unraveled this perfectly in 2 minutes. This is a huge advantage.
And Corvinus knows this. He needs this to work. You know, Scarlet Devil might lose a little bit of focus there for a second, but Scarlet is busy snacking on them deer. He's just eating, knowing that his villagers are full HP. He's not going to have to worry about all of this. Corvinus does have 1 on stone. And is this still going to be a cistern play?
It's going to be an outpost. I mean, it's too late for the cistern. The idea of the cistern is Akratorn, you brawl, and you get a slight advantage. He doesn't have that. If he had the Akratorn, maybe he would have like absorbed a lot more damage here, so he could have brawled 6v5. But now it's 6v5. Even if the prelate wasn't here, you're going to lose this fight, right? Unless you micro like a god and Scarlet's mouse disconnects, and it's happening again, Warman.
It is, and one of his villagers is already so close to dying. The scout is just hammering away at him too. Now getting that surround on the scout, but the scout, with all its legs, is able to run away. The scout does take a few more hits. But the prelate, he's healing up.
Okay, this is... At this point, just put him out of his misery. Oh my god.
What's the prelate's movement speed? More than 1.12, definitely. That thing has run away so many times.
I think it's exactly 1.12 if I remember correctly. It's
oh,
just
and
like
here we go.
You don't have a charge with villages, right? But so it doesn't. The prelate can't be gap closed, basically. Yeah.
But there are more coming, and now the villagers are going to be full HP ready. Akrator is chosen, but the problem is
it's too late.
So low. They're so low, and it does look like he's pulling the prelate here. He's going to be able to heal his villagers up. KP, this is going to be a destruction. Villagers need to retreat here, and this is...
How has he only lost one so far? Look at that. Look, oh my god, it's a double down. This is getting ridiculous. The Akrator is still running. The scout, he could try to snipe the prelate.
But the
Scarlet
scout is so low.
Yeah, wait. Gotta be careful with the formation shuffle here because it puts the prelate at the back. So you just gotta keep moving him. I think he says, fine, you can have this, but would you care to take a look at the economy right now? Because there is a teensy tiny problem for Corvinus.
Oh no. Scarlet, he's gotten quite a bit of food here between all of the chaos, and it was just enough to actually get the value he needs. The thing is, Corvinus is snacking on the food, but he doesn't have he didn't have resources to build even a mill. But now he gets the mill, but at what cost? A cost of a might work that is going to just make your life absolutely miserable when the units start pouring out.
I mean, at this point, I can only assume that Corvinus saw holy written in the title is like, oh, that must be their king. Because that, I don't think I've ever seen someone so hyper-fixated on killing an old bald man since I watched Kilyadi try and beat Dimmu. Gee, look at God. I mean, how do you come back from this?
Well, he's got a little bit of food now in the bank. Some of these villagers, low HP ones, will be making their way back to the base. Most likely to try and get a bit of gold once he hears that age up. And he's going to know it's about to come. Scarlet Devil didn't have his full eco here like Corvinus did for a significant amount of time. So these full HP villagers are going to need to be the ones that carries this through. At least all of these villagers are inspired by a cistern. So that must feel nice.
Yeah, but Scarlet's ones are inspired by God, so I don't know. Water, God, there's some metaphor in there about getting through a desert, but I mean, it's starting to feel like it might turn into a dry streak here for Corvinus. He just began the Hippodrome, but Mind Work already in effect, and Scarlet is just going to send 1 minute arms out to push them all the way back home.
Now, he is going to have to leave this food behind, but we have to look at what this looks like behind all of this. There's a base he's still got to fall back on. He hasn't touched his berries, so we still have a bit of berries these villagers can be thinking about as well. He pulls all of them back, knowing that there is going to be a pretty decent timing here. It doesn't really matter what unit Scarlet Devil decides to go for. He didn't scout whether this is going to be a horseman. He doesn't know if this is a spear or a man-at-arm, but he plays it safe and pulls it back. Now, he's got a lot of sheep here under the TC. A lot, I say, but not something that you are going to feel too happy about in the long run here. Corvinus now, he does have enough gold to be able to get a little bit of a wheelbarrow too, to get those villagers to run further away. There's movement on the map, and Scarlet Devil is going for the boar next. He says, dear, nah-uh, we can get the boar.
That's the thing, right? Like, if the boar was involved in the equation, Corvinus could have tried to be cheeky with it a little bit. You know, baited aggro and then switched it over, but that's part of the reason why Scarlet didn't rush onto it when he saw the play coming. Just went deer first. Outpost going to come in to secure this. And another funny thing is, like, Corvinus, the way he's set up here, his Hippodrome isn't actually safe. He's built it far out of his base, so it looks like he's trying to hide what he's doing here, but I feel like it's very easy for Scarlet. He just has to look, see there's no one on berries, no building on berries, and say, yeah, it's a Hippodrome game.
Now, the question is just whether this man-at-arms composition, now 5 men-at-arms, this This feels pretty strong. Byzantines does not have an answer to this, at least in the early game. So what Corvinus is going to need to do here is with that horseman, he needs to find damage on the villagers and keep those men-at-arms busy. Because these guys are going to start pouring into the base, and we've all played against an HRE with mass men-at-arms. If you are a civ without men-at-arms yourself, or at least 60 archers, you are going to have a pretty hard time. Corvinus now going out towards his berries, getting that second cistern in his base as well, trying to make a little bit of a Wi-Fi connection so these boys can start bringing in resources. Now, the question is, what unit is the follow-up here? How are you even going to withstand this heavy men-at-arms push that's about to hit your base?
Keshiks might be a decent operative to go towards. Just gives you a little bit more burst damage against the armor. I mean, alternatively, javelins can keep their distance, but you're going to struggle when you know it's going to likely be a spear horseman switch down the line. Lombos is usually seen as like the anchor point if you're trying to play around castle. My concern with like some of these choices like Lombos, if Scarlet's already scaling men at arms, there's a Burgrave build to be had here. With double boar, the deer in the corner, like you can realistically go 20, 25 men at arms and just Burgrave rush simply to get the veterancy in 6 seconds.
And that's definitely not off the table. As we see with that villager split, he's got decisions. 16 on food just tells us this man is going to be snacking. Already starting a little bit of that farm transition with the extra wood that he has. Means he's not investing in any military extra buildings for now. He is just going to most likely slow down and do exactly what KP has been sniffing out. We do see that we finally are going to get some mercenaries. But those mercenaries need a little bit more oil before they can get recruited. Corvinus now going for a horticulture upgrade, spending that bit of gold that he would need to try and get the +1 damage to do some actual damage to these men-at-arms. One more horseman in queue here, but now 10 on gold, and Scarlet Devil says he has castle on his mind.
Yeah, a little bit surprised he actually didn't add in the spears sooner. They're now coming through. He should have been a little bit suspicious when he scouted out the berries and saw that there was no Grand Winery here at all. So it definitely gives a little bit of a boon to Corvinus, because it means there's not going to be any spears to guard your offensive and defend your base. But as we can see, this looks like a feigned assault. Right, Scarlet just wants to idle him out a little bit, because the reality of what's coming is a castle age, and it's not going to take very long.
And Corvinus quickly clicking up with those Keshiks. He needs to get a little bit of firepower on his front lines, because those horsemen, they are going to do fine for now, but not against the castle age ones. So Corvinus making more horses himself. He's just doubling down and going for the base, because he knows he needs to find damage, and he's not going to find damage with a big chunky army standing in front of him. Going straight for the food source, because that is where it could hurt. Problem is just, if this food source is idled, it doesn't matter. He's just got the deer at the back. He's not even going to flinch about this.
Yeah, there are 3 excess villages here, though, so Corvinus can just try to strike in. Does go for Triumph Activation. A steer by Scarlet to try and dodge the damage, but not easily done. He's going to lose 1 worker already. But this is buying time. Like, this idle is a little bit annoying, but the tech up is underway. Better to be dove here than to be dove where you're going Castle Age.
3 dead villagers does feel pretty tough here, and 1 more going down for Corvinus as well. It doesn't look like Scarlet is letting this little attack misdirect him. He knows what he needs to do, and the burger is in queue as well. This man is going to be eating well tonight. The other horses trying to join this as well, but the Keshiks actually doing okay against this, but the problem is there's only 2. They are not strong enough for this. Burgrave now almost done, which is just going to mean a very quick upgrade for him. The spears do chase them off, and a few more horses fall, which Corvinus just cannot replenish. I would not be surprised if he just forfeits the moment he sees that burger.
I think when he confirms there's more men-at-arms, the veteran scene, yeah, there you go. It's gone. GG. Another game finishing around the same time. Ironically, last time it was Corvinus trying to go castle. This time it's Scarlet. But the outcome, always the same. The devil keeps taking the dubs.
Scarlet Devil just looking like he was ready for anything Corvinus could throw at him. I just love that early game shenanigans we got there in the middle. We have a best of 5 in front of us, so there's 1 more, possibly 3 more games in front of us here, but Corvinus is going to need to find his inner Chad and take down Scarlet Devil in, I guess, in a more unique way that actually works, because Scarlet Devil seems like he's ready for the meta. He's ready for Corvinus's plays. But Corvinus is the one that gets to choose this map as well. So you can be sure he's got something planned for situations like these.
Yeah, I think the problem here for Corvinus is actually playstyle more than anything else. Scarlet Devil, I wouldn't really align him as a totally greedy player. I think he's just very good reactionarily, and he's willing to play aggressive. But what Corvinus has in mind, we saw in the last series yesterday, I think he likes people that are maybe a little bit less chaotic, a little bit more orderly, or more prone to the idea of just looking to scale economy rather than just all-out aggression. So, these ideas that he has, they're really cool, but there is that element of, okay, it does kind of require your opponent not doing something, right? Like yesterday when he done a proxy base, it's like after an outpost rush, it's like, okay, there is this element that your opponent didn't do anything but agreed to do that. And in this game, I think he was kind of trying to flex that he'd maybe just be able to outskill Scarlet, but props to Scarlet, man. Like, he was on point. He min-maxed that prelate to the bitter end.
Now, what's interesting to me is also we have to consider Scarlet is from China. And when we think about China as a country representing AoE, it's full of shenanigans. These guys are not known for, hey, we're just going to do something standard and take you down. He's played against the craziest of the crazies, and he knows what to expect and how to respond to something that might be unorthodox. So Scarlet Devil, he is ready for this type of playstyle. Other players might have had a little bit of a harder time because you just never get to practice against any of these. Now, Frisian Marshes is chosen here, and we see Macedonians and Taklak being his choices, but getting sniped out with that Taklak, and we have finally him on a brand new civilization, and let's see if that is going to be the answer to his prayers, because Mongols also taken out for Scarlet here. I haven't seen a lot of China on this map, though.
No, it's a little bit unusual, right? Like, it just has so many other maps where it makes more sense. So China just kind of got deranked on this map because it just feels like a waste, right? Like, it's when you go, oh, yeah, Japan is good on this map too. And then people go, yeah, but there's like several other civs that are pretty good, and Japan is good everywhere. So why would I burn the pick here? But, looking at his draft, I mean, Scarlet, he could have tried Ibids, but the likelihood of it being Macedonians or Tuklak, I wouldn't have liked his chances there. I feel like Ibids can actually struggle against both those civs on this map in particular. English would have been an interesting way for Scarlet to go, but remember, he's got Socotra, so he wants to keep strong variants there. So the idea is, like, you draft Mongols, China here, and in the case that Mongols have now been banned, that keeps flexibility on Socotra to go English or Mongols, which are both desirable picks. And then that still leaves Ibids as a variance pick sometimes seen there. And then finally, like, Dry Arabia can easily be, if China wasn't picked here, it would have been that or Japan. So, like, his draft, he's kept it quite open, which is really important to remember with the snipes. But the interesting thing, like you were saying there about, China having their own tricks and their own little parlor tricks to show off at the last moment. The interesting thing is, like, Corvinus, I think part of these ideas that he's coming up with new civs like Macedonians, Tuklak, it's all coming from, I think, all that time in free-for-alls partially, and then the switch over to 1v1s. Is, like, his approach and how he initially would play the civs very different to what Marine Lord or Puppy Paw would be doing because they're playing a 1v1 environment. What we have to remember is Scarlet comes at it from that angle as well. This is a proficient team player. China loves their team games more than any other country in the world by far. And it's led to some really crafty strategies. I mean, it was a very big part of how CSO really started to break onto the scene in the 1v1s last year.
I think with them also being able to practice against these players who are also big 1v1ers, like Louis, for example, they're just prepared for most things in front of them. But we've seen Macedonians do some pretty crazy things. I know a lot of players say that Macedonians are a little bit hard to deal with if played correctly and if given a little bit of time. We don't typically see China doing China things anymore. When I say China things, I mean going for that Song dynasty, getting ahead, just living their best life. In this case, we wouldn't be seeing much of a pro scouting either. This is something that you need to go out and play the map too. But China is good at playing the map. Macedonians, they're just a little bit better, especially with access to that Rodari if given the time. And like I said, China is just not a civ that we see put too much pressure in that early stage of the game, like Macedonians has the choice to with their free units as well.
See, what I'm trying to figure out in my brain is who's going to build their base in the other player's base first.
Are we getting a Barbican drop?
We could be. I mean, Puppy Paw used to always do it on this map, even when other people stopped doing it. The interesting thought here is like both players have this capacity, right? Barbican is vicious, but just as vicious is the Varangian Stronghold Rush. You rush across, you drop one right next to their gold, and then you start spamming out units. It is less effective usually against like Shushi because they have an imp opening. More effective against China because they don't like building an Imperial official.
And if you can cut off their gold early enough, that just means they are going to be suffering for days on end. Now, this also depends a little bit on that spawn, right? Because sometimes the map spawns with the 2 golds next to one another, and sometimes it spawns with a stone between the 2 golds. So usually you can get a little bit lucky with that, especially when you're getting rushed. You might have a little bit of an opening to get what you need, especially with China getting taxes. They are going to be able to recover from that eventually. We'll just see how hard this is going to go for Corvinus. And now, as you're saying it, these guys, they're both just people who would do something crazy like Barbican drop and rush from either side. I'm honestly sitting here thinking, are we seeing anything standard? Are we seeing a castle age from either of these guys, or are we just going to be forever feudal? I don't even feel like we can count the other games as castle, because it's been castle into GG every single time. So, do we get that?
I think Scarlet would want to get to castle if the feudal starts to drag a bit and he hasn't got a Barbican rush, right? Because then you start talking about the Varangian scaling, you start talking about all those arsenal upgrades, right? The silver accruement is very dangerous. Whereas like for China, name of the game is still, I'm a heavy cav civ secretly. Ha ha ha. Can I get knights out? Can I win with that? What I'm curious about is like whether Corvinus would even try the Varangian stronghold rush, knowing that China can build outposts so quickly. Like, you would be forcing a reaction out of them, but at the same time, what is your stronghold then doing, right? Like, it kind of changes the narrative a bit. And to your point of like split golds, that piece at least isn't as threatening for Corvinus, because if it is split golds, just build more strongholds, right? It's 200 wood. It has an outpost in placement. Or seriously, well, it's that simple. You want to win, just build a trillion like strongholds. Just make them walls around their base.
Stronghold around the base in their face, and we'll see if Corvinus is going to be spicy. He is the villager moving across the map already. But Scarlet Devil, if we take a look at his scout, now going directly through the stealth forest. Ooh, wait a second. Corvinus is not being that spicy, and he's just going for a little dock. Wow.
Inflate the eco, yeah. I like this.
Who is this?
So he's still thinking about how can I be a cheeky mother ducker in H2, because the thing you have to remember is China, we said at the start, they do not want to build an imperial official, which means they aren't going fishing. So, if you can go feudal first, you can start building Adgirmafa. And Adgirmafa, especially if you've got fishing already in line, will easily brawl against Chinese spearmen. So it makes it much harder for Scarlet to get out on a delay.
So why are their spears just better? Because I think a lot of people also don't know how that works.
Oh, so they've got, what, more health? They also have the scaling attack speed, with more of them being closer, right? They have the ape strong abilities, I like to call it. And if you unfortunately manage to die a few too many times to them, they start getting runestone drops, right? So it's a very potent play, and also the type of unit that isn't terrible to scale into if you think China's trying to go fast tech on you, because you'll need them against lances. The thought is like, okay, just get Chuknu to counter. But do you remember when they first introduced Shushi, and these Chuknu masters got hard countered by Lombos because they couldn't reach anything? Macedonians is kind of similar there, because the Bogmaffer can be very fast and get additional range. So it's a little bit of a tricky one for Scarlet. If he gets baited into a prolonged feudal and he doesn't have a clear fishing advantage, I'd be pretty worried for him here.
Okay, so Macedonians just has an answer to everything that China possibly could do. Except now we see Scarlet Devil ready to age up almost there. And this is just going to mean that he gets to then dictate if this is going to be a little bit more aggressive, or are we going to let Corvinus expand on all this fishing? So I wanted to see for a second here whether Corvinus is going to invest into more fishing ships before going on to gold. Because now I just saw him spending some of that wood as well. And it is still just mining on wood. He's already got 3 fishing ships, I think a 4th in queue already. So is he going for 5 fishing ship opening that we've seen only from a handful of players? A lot of players play it safe. They try to get the 3, so it lasts them a pretty long time. But people with the 5, they just mean business. They want to get as much food.
I think you take the burst because, like, look at the sheep counter right now. So Corvinus, he's got a huge abundance of sheep in his favor. Scarlet has practically none. The idea of just like only sticking in one dock and blowing it up a bit to get a better ROI, it does mean that the pond's going to last less time overall, but it gives you holistically a clearer plan in feudal. You'll hit feudal faster and you'll be able to push out faster with it. That's a problem for Scarlet because of what we just saw in the sheep count. 7 sheep at 3 minutes in is a grim look for any civ. And it's not like he's got berries hidden at the back of his base to rely on.
Yeah, Scarlet Devil is going to have to be out on the map. And like you said, with Macedonians, they just have a lot of answers to whatever China would like to do. But most importantly, they have a pretty good answer to someone who tries to go out on the map when you get horses for free. We'll see if that is going to be the answer for Corvinus, with him almost getting ready for that castle age. Oh my goodness, KP. It's just different when you see them. When you see them getting delivered.
We had a conveyor belt ready for this. It might actually jam up with them. Maybe we just do multi-batch. Like, the interesting part, by the way, is that Corvinus went for an outpost on his gold, which is starting to make me think that he might just go for a classic Radari rush.
Oh.
Yeah. So like you open with 2 horsemen, and then the scout comes out at the same time, and then you can just poke harass. So like, for example, if Scarlet wants to go more than one pond, you'll kill his villager for that. And at the same time, it gives you just burn damage in on the docks anyway.
So with you already having that little bit of food boost, you can afford something like those 2 horsemen without it hurting your economy too much. And with 5 still on gold, that does seem to be a pretty good possibility here. Radari it doesn't seem like they have an answer just yet. A lot of players still struggling with, once those Radaris arrive, things just spiral out of control so quickly. Now, Scarlet Devil has 11 on wood here, so now starting that fishing eco himself, 12 on wood, excuse me, just staying in the game. And I don't know if this is going to be a safe play for him, especially when those Radari start arriving.
Yeah, like, what else could you do? I mean, the Barbican idea still works, right? Look at the golds. It's actually an insane Barbican game. If he Barbican rushes, then Corvinus wouldn't have gold access for Radari rush. But the problem is going to be these initial horsemen. Like, this is where Macedonians are built a bit diff compared to other civs trying to do this against. Those horsemen are pretty damn vicious, especially the champions that go with them, because the champion scout has the same health as a Castle Age Knight. Right? He doesn't have the effective HP due to his armor being lower, but he heals. He doesn't die easily. So, like, how are you now meant to be able to afford, say, 6 spearmen and the Barbican to go along with it on time? You can't easily do that.
Now we do see the second dock coming out for Scarlet Devil as well, and this just tells us he's going to need a lot more time to actually match the Castle Age if Corvinus decides to go for it. But now we have 1 horseman, and we have one of our champion scouts out here on the map, and this is going to cause Scarlet Devil a little bit of havoc, as he was hoping to expand onto more fishing boats as time went on. Still with 13 on wood. Is this going to be a signal when he sees that first horseman that he actually needs to make more units? He gets a few spearmen now, trying to have a little bit of map presence when those horsemen arrives. And for him, he doesn't know how many that will be.
Villager. Horseman's going to be able to charge in onto that. The spearman is on the way, so I think he gets away with this. It's just unfortunate for Corvinus the damage was done to his scout already. Otherwise, he could have contested this, but what was that for? Nice movements. Actually does stick on top of him. Thought that was going to be a little bit tricky with a double spear. Corvinus gets that kill. I mean, this is the thing. When you're this far out the base, if you don't have a spearman on the way, it's definitely death. But the spears, I mean, the crazy thing is that despite the fact he's playing a civ that can pump them out super fast, Scarlet wasn't able to keep that worker alive. And he does at least have 2 pond play now. But look at what Corvinus' reaction has been. 3 pond now.
And going into the Varangian Guards as well. And now going for that military upgrade that is for our infantry. So this means the ground units, or the 2-legged ground units, are going to be very happy with these upgrades, especially with those Varangians in the mix. And the spearmen from Scarlet Devil are just not going to be able to handle that level of pressure. But this does give Corvinus a lot of options here. With 15 on wood, he has a lot of docks to still put down and get food from. Now, doesn't look like he is thinking about castle whatsoever, because why would he need to? He knows that his opponent has already invested himself into getting those spears. Now, as we can see, archers. So this is going to feel pretty good for him, with those Varangians at least.
Yeah, I mean, he's already starting to get the ranging techs in, right? So he just got the armor upgrade. These archers aren't going to feel that impactful, this pacing. Has to be aware of that and trying to find a way of striking in. Second champion now arriving, and I really wasn't kidding with the health bars on these things. Like, they just don't die easily. And we have to remember that long feudal feels great for Macedonians. We highlighted one of the big points around this. It's the champions, the funnel champion in particular. Where this ranging really become a problem is when you give them that movement speed buff from the Radari champion.
Now, with Scarlet Devil's army, this is still a significant amount. So, Corvinus, he has the mobility behind all of this, but he still has to be careful not to start losing these units, because the mass can still make a significant difference. We do have our first upgrade there, but now these horsemen, we can see he's just trying to use this one horse to get a little bit of damage. Spearmen are going to pick up both the scout and the horseman, but the champion scout does pull back for a second. You have Varangian guards on the front line now, destroying quite a bit of these spears.
And the scout,
actions.
look at the scout.
Scout is going to go down, but he took so many hits before doing so.
Yeah, he takes the worker with him was the important part. Probably could have been micro just about getting away with that, scout alive, but this is a hilarious trade, right? Like, yes, it's going to end up bad for Corvus at the end because he kind of jumps the gun, but the concept is there, and you see how filthy it is. That many spearmen brawling, and they still struggle to look good against the Varangian. What's interesting is Corvinus, it feels like there's been a big eco slowdown, and it is because he's trying to front aggression while simultaneously being greedy. He's now entering his 4th and 5th dock before he's filled out the first 3.
Now, him losing his champions is actually pretty massive here. This puts Scarlet in a pretty good position to keep making units and to now do the counter-aggression. With 20 military supply, you are going to feel a lot more confident pushing out and doing something crazy like a Barbican drop, like you mentioned earlier. Because earlier there was that presence of the horsemen that you had to be careful of. You can't send your villagers out, but now you have support. So all of a sudden, Scarlet Devil has choices, and Corvinus is not going to be able to just get this for free. Now, he has moved more villagers over there to the food and only has a 1 on gold.
What? Why is... Okay, thank God it was a misclick. He queued up a droman. I was so confused for a second there. It's just going to be an archer ship, but this is interesting, right? Can we click on the strongholds? I'm pretty sure he already has the arrow slip tag. No, he does. Oh my God, he doesn't. Corvinus delayed here.
Greedy, definitely.
I mean, you built 4 of these. You definitely had time to get the stone ahead of time, man.
I don't think he expected this army to be able to push into him at this point already. Because for him, this was like, oh, I'm the one who's being aggressive. I have the horsemen. I have the champions. What is he going to do? But he hasn't been careful enough with those. Those things just falling like flies as the army pushes forward. But Scarlet Devil has slowed down with production. And KP, he's doing what you said. He wants to go to those beautiful lances and just become the knight civilization they were meant to be.
Yeah, but his food income is kind of underwhelming here, right? Like, he needs a way of starving gold or stopping the fishing. Because if they do tech up simultaneously, which is what's happening, Corvinus's unit outlook, much better. With this income and the fact that Radari are just better than Lancers, I don't like to think about how this will go for China. Like, I think he might even feel obligated to go towards, like, spear crossbows straight away because of it.
And getting through that Golden Horn Tower is not like we see with Byzantines. It's not just a building that produces units. It's a building that shoots the demon crossbow shots at everything. So that's just an issue that a lot of people are struggling with breaking through. So that means the gold is pretty safe for him. This means that Scarlet Devil isn't going to need to find damage elsewhere with these units, especially now that he is going for his lances. He needs to find a spot where he can constantly be able to attack. Now the guy's going all the way here to the back now. And Corvinus getting his Varangian guards very shortly going to be able to get their upgrades as well. They're actually going to do pretty well against these units at the back.
Yeah, it's really nice when you've got slow-moving units, your opponent comes to you like this, really. What a nice guy. Yeah, it's also... Sorry, go ahead.
I got coached recently and was told, do not go behind your opponent's base unless you want to lose all your units. But I was going to say, could pick off a villager there, but those bad boys did absolutely nothing and will all just be sitting ducks if Corvinus decides to turn it around. But we do see more red dots coming this way. And those red dots...
Yeah. Ascon as well, interesting enough. Yeah, it's like your point that there is a big irony in the whole idea of going around the back of the base gets you killed when you consider that in the early days of AoE4, going around the back of the base was fine for English longbow mass. So really weird if you like follow the whole history of AoE4, but this is an ambitious fight. Let's maybe just not do that. He's going to run the spears past on the Radari. This is the thing you want to keep down and count. The Varangian are just a big fat distraction.
The real heroes are going to be the Radari. The Radari champion here needs to stay alive for Corvinus' sake, but that man is very happy walking forward. He does pull him back now. He realizes, I cannot lose this man. He's expensive to remake, but these Varangians are going to be able to chase down, and now with the Radari in the mix and another one following suit, he's going to be able to pick off quite a few of these units if given the chance.
Keep in mind, Corvinus' fishing lead isn't as big as it seems, because he built, I think it's 5 fishing boats in the first pond in the end, right? That's now idled out. He's not one of those people that deletes them, he just patrols them. So the economy advantage isn't as crazy. What's curious to me is, like, on raw count, Scarlet Devil's food income is quite frankly abysmal. Yeah, I thought so. He's going for a farm transition. But remember, he doesn't have song, so it's poor man's China.
This is not the China we fear or make Reddit posts about. This is the China that's desperate for a little bit of income. But now you can see the composition here from Corvinus is going to start to become an issue for Scarlet, as he just doesn't have the units to handle this. He's getting a lot of crossbows, which is going to be sublime to have. But the crossbows are going to need a front line, and the lancers, they are just not, I would say, just not going to be the answer we need here. As we can see, he doesn't want to run those forward. The Varangian guards absolutely slicing through them. A handful of crossbows are just not it.
No, I mean, he stepped up while trying to essentially eco up at the same time. While on the back side of things, Radari should get the clap of the cheeks just in the nick of time there. That would have been a huge boon getting the champion if he could. But now, look at this. The Lancers, the second wave coming through, munching down on the Varangian, who did go into berserk mode. Mistakes made there. Corvinus a misread of the situation. Forced back with his tail between his legs and not much army left to counter that.
And I am honestly surprised. Activating that just means that these units can die so much quicker. With all the reinforcements coming from Scarlet's side, he's just pumping out those crossbows that he needed. And now going to be making a lot more plays for the relics. We see Corvinus being able to drag one of them slowly back to base, but Scarlet is the man in charge here. And he's making more monks to try and secure the rest of them too. The Radari numbers are still quite scary though. And I'm still thinking about that front line. We need a few more spears to be able to handle this, boys.
I mean, the crossbows are the more important thing for Scarlet, right? Just get that pure burst. I like that Corvinus is switching into mass spears because it counts as Lancer plus crossbowman. Got to be a little bit careful. If you overcommit into Atgian Mafa, it does open up a Springald strategy. Not one that's going to feel giga strong by default for China, because remember, this was an Imperial Palace game. They don't really do Clock Tower anymore. But Barbican, by the way, is now on the way. So we're finally going to reach a point where poor man's farming can become rich man's.
And just in time. Beautifully placed. Love this for him.
So if he deletes one farm, he actually has a perfect granary drop there.
That is going to be quite juicy to have. Now, this feels pretty good though, because you having your farms in a great position around your Barbican just means that Corvinus is just not going to be able to march in and take down. Then we just have to consider that he has an army of Radari, and those things won't mind a few Barbican shots if given the chance. You do see another horse upgrade coming on in, and the Lancers taking a bit of damage here. Now, Corvinus, I feel like he's the one who needs to keep this pressure going, because of course your opponent is now in Song Dynasty. This means China makes more villages, the farm transition is already set up, and Corvinus doesn't have that food longevity for himself just yet. We can already see that with the difference of the food income, with Scarlet Devil being at 1.3k, sometimes 1.4k per minute, and Corvinus slowly plummeting to zero, I would say, as those fishing boats will expire very, very soon. And I say very soon, but that should be about 5 minutes. And 5 minutes is not a long time when you're playing against China.
Well, you have to make it work, though. You're going to have to move fast. And definitely a civ that can move fast. With the Radari champion still there, the full composition has some speed behind it. So it's just going to be pumping forward. I think, Scarlet, you could just kind of sack this pond. Maybe even sack 2 ponds here, considering you have got the farms. So you've got an everlasting economy here, right? Like, the worst thing you can do right now is get baited into a fight before he's allowed himself to fully scale.
Now, he is going straight for that dock, and this is a good sacrifice. You want to keep this army engaged. The more time you give China now, the better. You have the food eco. You're just going to have more units as time goes on, but for now, Corvinus' army is really scary, KP. I'd still want to be in Corvinus' shoes here with the amount of units we see and that composition we have. What are you seeing?
Maybe you won't want to be Corvinus for long. Nesta Beast production has begun for Scarlet. With Palace Guard, it's a pretty slick combo. Corvinus, like if you think about it, his Bogmath or his crossbow count, they won't be able to hang around long against just 2 Nesta Bees. And the Palace Guard in choke points don't fall fast either. Corvinus is, if you look at it, the backbone of it really is spears. So PG is kind of his worst nightmare.
And with him having Radari, that's great, but he just doesn't have the numbers to get onto the backline if given the shot. And we do see the Lancers now frontlining here into the Spears, which means a lot of damage going down. Nesta Bees getting a decent shot here at the front, but the horses are going to be able to get on top. Villagers now running a little bit too far out, and crossbows need to back off. But honestly, I still think this is an okay trade here.
It's pretty decent. The way that played out was odd for Scarlet. He idled his villages. His Nesta Bees were exposed. He actually left his crossbowmen to guard them, but they didn't guard them at all. So Corvinus just gets to surround in the entry with the Radar and the Horseman, gets exactly what he needs, and now follows it up by shutting down the crossbows, which will then give him access to the farming source of Scarlet. Big mistakes made on positioning and good exploitation by Corvinus as he now dives in to shut down the reliable food for China.
And he knows exactly what units are going to cause havoc, and those are just the crossbows. So focusing those out between all of them, ensuring that his archers are the ones to take them down. And Scarlet Devil forfeiting. And luckily, this means there's not a 3-0. Corvinus still has a fighting chance here, and I'm excited to see what he picks up next.
Turns up with his Macedonian, shows you what he's cooking with when he gets his hands on these new civs. And Scarlet, just experiencing the pain of that Nesta Beast transition. You get a little bit more time. You get up to a count of 4. It's a completely different ball game. But, the big problem here for Scarlet is, he's trying to do too many things, right? He's trying to get the core crossbow count up. Then he thinks he needs Nesta Bees. But at the heart of it, you highlighted early on, where's the front line? And that was the continuous story here. He had the idea of Palace Guard, but what Corvinus understood so well is you don't give time for ideas to flourish. Macedonians is king amongst tempo civs. Once they start to stick it to you, they can keep that going non-stop. And Corvinus, he found that succinct timing, and you'd expect him to. With the amount of games he's been grinding in Macedonians on the ladder, this man has definitely got more than one trick up his sleeve.
Now, the question is whether Scarlet is going to allow those through, and he says, yes, you may have Golden Horde on Dry Arabia, as Malians is a little bit more feared than the Golden Horde. And honestly, I'm so happy we get to see this, because Golden Horde has not been getting the airtime we would like from it to understand really where they're fitting into the meta, what they're good at, and where they fall just a little bit short. But Malians is a civ that, like you said, is kind of in a very rough spot to play against because of that cow nerf not really doing what we thought it would, not really getting them under control. But up against Japan, who is also a civ with a lot of choices, I think this is going to be a pretty fun game to watch. I think we finally might get to see a really solid castle one. Not that this one fell short at all, but I would love to see a little bit of that Japan action and whether they can actually handle something like the Golden Horde.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because Japan versus Golden Horde, Corvinus had this exact matchup yesterday at the end of the day. And it was the 2TC strat that he was able to come and win with Golden Horde. What's interesting is the way the game began. It began the same way most Golden Horde games do begin at the highest level, which is with you getting Dark Age rushed. And he handled that phenomenally well. Denied the tower going up, killed multiple workers in the brawls, and it shows you the value of the Karash in even the Dark Age alongside a few spearmen. The challenge, of course, is the synchronicity of your timings there. Like, you do not have the same tempo that Japan does. Japan, who has a 75 wood cost for their racks, and then only pays 80, whereas you pay 150 wood into a bulk payment of 160, and then you have to wait longer, right? And on top of that, remember where all this problem comes from for Golden Horde. The reason a lot of people have been struggling with Civ, if you think about them like Mongols too much, it doesn't work. Because Mongols get this guarantee of safety that allows them to do reckless things. Oh, look, gold is on the tree line. My TC is there. Nothing is exposed. If you get Dark Age rushed with Golden Horde, everything that matters to you is exposed. Your stone is exposed. Your gold is exposed, right? Like, and you don't feel secure. You feel about as secure as someone living in a cardboard box in the street, right? The only thing you really have, really more than the street pass there, is food safe and wood. So the idea of going Dark Age aggression sounds good until you then remember that all that stone you've been accruing has literally got no use for you other than building an outpost in the Dark Age.
Now, Japan is really good at also doing that Dark Age aggression, which I think makes this so much harder. Because Golden Horde, a lot like Aeobids and Abbasid, they don't really get that fast age up. You have to give it time. And by the time you get denied with a small little rush, your opponent might already be on his way to castle the moment you hit your feudal age timing. So this does feel like a pretty tough game to be fighting up against Japan, especially considering they're so good at those Dark Age rushes that we've been seeing a lot from players here. Now, there's only Socotra left after this, and I know we might be a little bit stepbrother stuck here on the timer. So I want to take just a second to look at Socotra and say, okay, we still have a lot of good civ for either player here. But with that 0-0-0, I'm hoping we're about to jump right in. This just means that Socotra, we might still get a decider here, but I feel like this is a pretty tough time for Corvinus.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, if we go there, what is the idea here for Corvinus? Is this like a Knights Templar fast tech into Hospitaller strat?
Now, I see that we lost a little bit of a voice there, but KP is trying his best at getting that beautiful voice back online. And as we're waiting for this to come in, I do want to say that Dry Arabia, this is usually our question of skill. Who's going to outplay the other one? But now we'll see if that is going to be enough here. I do believe we're on our way in. But Japan, spaghetti. We got KP back. Nice. Ah, no, never mind. We are getting teased. No, you're not. I'm just face palming at something I said. Don't worry. You're still good.
I don't trust it. All right, there we go. Now I'm definitely here. All right, there we go. They should be able to hear me now. They better be able to hear me now. So,
yeah, they are.
Basically, all of the Corvinus' ideas on Socotra are like funky and out of the box. You could do like a Knights Hospitaller rush. You could do a Tuklak Elephant push on short distance, or you could go for like some really weird ass Yatai strat. The Yatai strat I find intriguing because it kind of reminds me of when the Canadian bros discovered that Shu Shi was good on Socotra because of the meditation garden.
Okay, well, KP, that was a great speech. I just want to take a moment here and say that I confused the Sengoku and the Malian flag with one another.
Oh, yeah. And, no, I was just trying to be a bro and just glaze over that and just not even focus on it.
Oh, no. Guys, that is Sengoku flag, just so everyone knows we're not getting Malians. Oh my goodness, I'm just looking at the draft, I'm like, what? Wait, what? Oh yes, this is a situation.
If you
yes,
really,
Sengoku?
do you want me to be honest?
Yes.
You've done this last week as well, I just glazed over it then.
Really? No! KP,
I was like, it's fine, we'll just steer it away.
Oh,
we'll just steer it away. It's like, yeah, the Sengoku here is really...
So, as a Sengoku enjoyer, maybe that's the only thing I see in front of me. I understand the Malians will not see the light of day. And the thing is, when you ban out Sengoku, I get it. As a Sengoku player, I see how forgiving the civilization is. You just get to sit back, relax, and let the passive eco do the work. But, yes, that would also now explain a lot more tactics. Never mind, guys. I'm going to need a second here while I'm like, whoa, did I just do things wrong for 2 weeks in a row? Wonderful. Oh.
It's fine. You know, just people talking about 60 civs in the game eventually. Look forward to that, right? Like, like AO2 usually has like different shaped shields, doesn't it, to try and help that a little bit. Whereas we're very much, it's a rectangle or a circle, and they're all the same.
So we'll get there. big speculation on what red and yellow flag we're gonna get for one of our next civilizations, right? Maybe we can spice it up even more.
Burgundy. I think Burgundy would like have a flag that's appropriate for that. No, actually no.
Where's
They're
Burgundy
they're red and white. Actually, no crap.
Where's Burgundy from?
They're French. The Burgundians.
Are we getting another French variant?
I mean, why not, right? Like, I mean,
they don't have enough.
You really have to draw the lines, right? Because Relic is a Canadian studio, and you have French Canadian. So, like, I mean, they already done Jean in French, so you know, it just kind of
might as well get another one.
like I'm trying actually like red and yellow flags. You could kind of stretch it with like the English flag of like the 14th century. Because it had, but that's like this blue checkered as well. But there is like the Angevin, literally the one that the Knights Templar has, the Angevin Empire flag. Because it's like
this fun with flags?
Huh?
By KP. Is this fun?
Yeah, it's fun with flags.
By KP.
We're gonna like dive down the holes. But the problem is like that red and white, like the red and yellow, doesn't look like a red and then a yellow circle. I don't know. I think they just teased you big time with this specific civ. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones in the game that overlap this much. Probably not.
Not yet. Not yet, KP.
Maybe yet. Like HRE and Iobids if you've got low res on and you're colorblind?
There's a lot of variants we're getting now. But since we're still waiting for the next game to start, I can see we're a little bit stuck here. I want to break down the fact that we are going to get some action if they allow us. If Corvinus allows us, we get some action on Socotra. So Scarlet Devil still has a lot up his sleeve here. We still have Mongols, we still have Japan, we still have English. But like you said before, or not Japan, Mongols and English, and Ayyubids. But like you said before, Mongols and English both do pretty well on this. Is this something that Ayyubid would ever stand a chance of?
What, on Socotra? Yeah, they have like an interesting Gulam build that was theory-crafted a long time ago. Because like the weakness of Gulam is distance, right? And Socotra is a very, very small place. It's like, you know, it's like when you're already the fourth sibling and you all share the same room, and then your parents have a fifth, and like they're going in with you. It's like there's no room in here. That's how Socotra can feel. So Gulams did make a lot of sense. Very hit and miss strategy though. Like a lot of people discover that's very gold dense. So if I just stick a boat on your back gold, you're not having a good time. I would assume that he would be looking at Mongols or English as his prior picks, especially considering what Corvinus has.
Is there an opening for Tuklak here to make any plays on a small map like that? Tuklak?
Without water, the Tuklak is... Because it's the fishing, right? The fishing's what makes them insane. I think they're kind of controllable otherwise. The Raider Elephants can be annoying, but you know the cool thing about this map is you trivialize it, or the next map's Socotra, you trivialize it if you just build a wall between the two tree lines.
And then elephants are not passing.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know what would have been ironic? Corvinus could have used Golden Horde there instead and built a wall, because Golden Horde can do that. Oh, damn, the mistricks here.
And then you have a nice little fun delay if you need one to make sure that you get that eco up and running and not get rushed by Japan spearmen. But yeah, no, I think Socotra is definitely a map where Corvinus shenanigans can pay off. Because we've seen some pretty spicy play here all from the sides of the water too. So no, I can attest to being a big fan of seeing someone like Corvinus on Socotra.
I want him to KT. I want him to KT, but at the same time I know Corvinus really likes his 2TC builds. Like there's some cool ideas in there though. Like with the Hospitaller, you get the healing, you get the bulkiness in your villages. And like it's a small enough map that like Archer Mass can win. I don't know. It's definitely an interesting map to think about. Like, there's a lot of obvious plays we'd highlight with different people, like we just did with Scarlet. Whereas Corvinus is just an enigma. Like, his biggest advantage is you not knowing what punch he's going to throw. But I think the negative of that can be that if you don't have a never-ending bag of parlor tricks, an infinite bag of holding, as you get deeper in a qualifier, especially when you go from day 1 to day 2, now your opponent has time to review the VODs. So you have to keep pulling out new tricks, or it's like, oh, I've seen this one. The coin's behind the ear. Yes, well done. It was in your hand all along, right? It loses that c'est la vie, that reveal factor of it.
And this is probably something that Corvinus might be the weakness of Corvinus, is the fact that when you know your opponent's doing something crazy, usually you go and see what it is. And Socotra makes that quite simple with, the wonders of it being so tiny. But while we're waiting for the rest of it, guys, let's take a moment to just talk about what we're expecting for the rest of the day as well. After this match, we do have MSN and Mio Micah going to be fighting their best of 5 for that second spot as well. And MSN, we've seen this man. He has grown a significant amount, and I don't mean that in his height, very tall lad, but also his gameplay. He's been an absolute monster in a lot of these matchups. And MSN, what have you been seeing out of him? Especially, does he play KPMM as well?
He hasn't been playing that many in a while now, actually. I think maybe he's just worried that, bedtime's going to be a little bit too early in the evening. I think that's why he put him on the second set. But Mia Micah as an opponent is going to be an interesting one. Like, MSN has some de homage ways of playing the game, He very much loves his camels. I feel like when he was a little child and only, 5'6" tall, he was probably taken to a zoo where he pet a camel and became a little bit too attached there. So usually we expect an Iabid Abbasid prize there, whereas Mia Micah historically has been Japan, Shushi, Mongols are his bread and butter, House of Lancaster more recently, with these almost cheesy builds. But like when Mia Micah is switched on, the way he cheeses goes beyond just cheesing. You know what I mean? Like, when someone's like, okay, I've seen this 100 times. Oh my god! Like you StarCraft people will be like, oh my god, it's a Protoss cannon rush. Wow, we've done this before. Why is there 15 cannons in my base? He's that type of player. He takes it a step too far and usually breaks his opponents because of it. But I think we're just working to get in the game. By the way, guys, like I think we have a small tech issue, so we should be able to resolve that eventually. I mean, where else would you get a podcast though? So hang around.
So. Now we actually need to start bringing up questions, ask the heavy hitting things.
Oh, is this like agony aunt stuff from the chat?
Now, Twitch chat, this is now your AMA. Ask KP anything. But
KP, what do I do about hair loss? Just shave your dog's hair and then super glue it to your head. There you go. Next question.
Is that what you have over there? Labrador Retriever? Wait!
wait.
Scarlet Devil? Is this
real?
Corvinus?
I think it's happening. I think it's actually happening. Oh my god. We're finally underway. Corvinus is about to get the taste of Japanese pain again. It's a Dark Age rush against one of the most vulnerable civs in the game to Dark Age play. But let's see how Corvinus navigates the Dark Age minefield.
Now, with the first spearman already out there, but Corvinus not really aware of what's coming towards him just yet. But if we take a quick look at the spawns, we'll see how vulnerable he's going to be. Like you said, he has that forward gold, but everything else seems to be pretty fairly split around. Scarlet Devil not investing too much into this rush, though. He just wants to make sure that he denies the gold, and then he will go and get his age up. And that's what we can expect from Japanese. Because with Japan, you have a civ that, again, loves to go fast castle. This is not a problem for them to just do a little bit of a rush, get that bit of a presence down here, and then go for a play they're very comfortable with. Corvinus responding with Spearman, though.
Yeah, I think Corvinus may have just gotten baited here. Because last time when he'd done this strat, it looked really good because his opponent went, I think, 6 spears last, was going for the outpost rush. Scarlet has no interest whatsoever. I think Corvinus needs to turn this into a counteroffensive because one interesting thought that should be in the back of his mind, Scarlet's one of the players that likes fast castle builds. And you can tell it's going to be one. Just look at that Kuristor house. One worker. He's going lean, fast castle fighting machine.
And this seems to be a pretty standard play out of here from Japan. We've seen this a lot from people. They take their time to age up because the moment you age up, you're ready to click up. And that feels pretty amazing in this regard. Now, he, luckily for Corvinus, didn't overinvest into getting that counter push going, but now he has to ask himself, do I have a response to him going fast castle? Is this where I go fast castle myself? Do I have the same type of firepower when I hit castle compared to when my opponent does? And also, KP, we have no game sound, I believe. I
We
don't know
don't
if
have
that's the case.
audio because this is just
But
deafness
I could
awareness.
just make the
we used to doing
noises.
this.
Don't
And
worry.
wait, oh my god, he's doing it again. It's an outpost rush. It's a back gold.
But
Okay, no, okay, it's not. Okay, thank God. I was so worried because like Scarlet has a back gold. This is a lot tamer. Thank goodness.
I was ready for us to just see more shenanigans, but this is a safe level of shenanigans, of course. So, as they're building the buildings and villagers just gathering all around. Oh, I love when the sound doesn't work, so I just get to make all the awkward sound effects.
Yeah, you
while
can
the
just
other
make them
person
for
casts.
you. Yeah, like when the deer goes down, can you make that noise?
Okay, don't worry, I'm on it. I'm on it. I will definitely.
You're going to
I'll do it
research
next
that
time.
noise now. You can't remember it straight away, can you? It's more like it's like a weird sort of thing. It's really weird. It's almost like the deer had a pig inside it when it died.
KP, fun with flags into fun with deer noises. Love that. But
wait until you find out the noise a fox makes.
Now, we do have the little bit of units also moving out to try and slow down the Scarlet Devil shenanigans that has been going on. But he's got a tower himself, so he's not too worried about this. And the scout just slapping down that uwu. Now, we have to wonder if Corvinus is now also just going to respond by getting... I was going to say to get
an outpost. He's not like if you thought he was going to go castle for a second, you have to remember this is Golden Horde. They don't win castle rushes, to be honest. But their outposts are pretty big.
That is a massive outpost. KP, those spearmen are no match for this outpost, and there are some reinforcements here as well. They're not looking too good against that tower, though, and it is perfectly safe for at least 5 villagers. But now, what is Corvinus going to be able to do with this? And we can see he's going to be able to push off these villagers. Can we check the range on this pretty quickly?
It's not going to hit by default, no. So it needs to get arrow slits in, which is coming momentarily. Then Scarlet's kind of a wee little bit of a problem here. But Corv, he's committing hard, right? He's gone for the archers here. You're up against Mount Samurai. There's an overconfidence that he's going to stop Golden Talon. He does snipe a worker on the farms. And remember, the secondary gold option isn't great here for Scarlet. The third is very far out to the west side. And Corv isn't done. It's another outpost.
No. Corvinus is just playing his best game he could. Getting this type of anti-rush is exactly what we would expect from this man. Absolutely looking so scary, but already stopping this mounted samurai spam by cutting off the gold. This spawn definitely making that a lot simpler for him to do so. But now him already picking off 2 villagers, this feels pretty good.
I do wonder if he could have just clicked the villagers there, though. I mean, these are mounted samurai. There was only 6 spearmen max. I think actually 2 of them aren't here yet. So it's not the craziest thought to say mounted samurai could have actually just sniped the workers there. Because Tordoku don't do much damage. They're just very tanky. So yeah, weird choice by Scarlet just sacking his own farming area. And now, Corvinus, I mean, is this good enough to tech with? You've stopped the gold. Although your opponent's not going to stop there, right? Like, he's going to make a move out. In fact, if you look at the minimap, Scarlet is heading for the west gold now. So, Corvinus, we may need 1 more outpost here, sir.
And it looks like he is planning on doing Ooh, never mind. He's just sending the horses here. And that is a pretty good move now, because with those guys, he's going to be able to get reinforced pretty quickly, move back to where the rest are. And we see a lot of idle villagers here from Scarlet trying to find a way to get to a gold resource. But he's just pulling all the boys. All the boys realize we need to get out here and make something happen. Puts a tower down here all the way at the front. And Corvinus does play it safe, pulls back, but 2 villagers will go down. Oh my goodness, we're already at 5, and this feels pretty good. But the back line is getting attacked here. The villagers are running for their lives, getting to those spears, but there's not a lot of them.
Mount Samurai, though, look what they're doing. They're cleaning up right now. So Tordoku are going to come back to try and assist, but the spearmen have caught up. They have not been vetted. Scarlet Devil has got 0 gold income. His Mountain Samurai need to be careful not to get secluded here. Over time, he can heal them up if he gets more monks out. Workers rushing the tower up as Corvinus dives in for additional finds. We'll strike down another worker. and shift away. Now, he has lost the majority of his infantry. He's only cavalry based here. And it does seem like Corvinus, is he doing that 2TC strat again? Because that is a lot of wood.
Getting that amount of wood opens up a few options, at least for them. But he's not in a position where he has a lot of options, because even though he shut down all of this, he still has to keep in mind that he's playing against someone with a lot of mounted samurais. And apparently those mounted samurais are staying right in the base. I was going to say they can be an absolute menace when they get onto that wood line. But they are here to react. They are here to react to a very spicy army here from Corvinus. And honestly, I love this map presence from him. I think this is exactly what he needs to force Scarlet Devil into this awkward position for even longer. And he's going for a few more kills onto the wood line, but he needs to be careful because those mounted samurai, they're not raiding. They're right at home.
Yeah, the problem here for Corvinus, the problem Gornhorde always has is like teching is not easy. And it's very obvious when you choose to do it. It's very obvious when you put 1,800 resources into something else with a Civ. So you kind of need a big win on the fights. And, you know, there are some wins to be talked about and had here, but realistically, Scarlet now does have food. He has gold. He will start just surging out mass mount samurai pretty swift here. So the idea of like Scarlet waiting his base, I don't mind it. I do hate that he's not healing the samurai because I think you want to be ready to roll pretty fast here. Essentially, the classic catch them with the hand in a cookie jar moment. Because by the time Corvinus is teching up and maybe a minute away, you could be 10 samurai deep easily.
Oof, but he gets yet another kill, and he'll get more, as only 5 of those villagers fit in that tower. These guys will be paying the price. 10 villagers already going down here. And this is looking sublime for Corvinus. Honestly, I am so impressed with this man just shutting down his opponent that was initially in that driving seat. So, beautiful play here by Corvinus already. I am getting so excited. Are we going to get a 2-2?
It's looking pretty good right now. I like that Corvinus reinvested there. Like, there's kind of a choice to be made, and he saw that there's more blood to be spilled. So doubles down, adding in the Keshiks to go alongside the Torgud. So this changes the damage dynamics. Before he had a tanky front line, now he's got a tanky front line with good DPS as well. And the Mountain Samurai do need to be careful about getting outnumbered. Great little snipe there, and then just pulls away. And he is now finally topping off the injured Samurai. So I think he's looking for a go time soon. I don't know if he's suspecting that Corvinus fully reinvested, however. I mean, you see the archers being produced, which should be a giant red flag for him.
But has he completely reinvested, or is the UI just bugged to see the age up? Because this is that's a pretty common thing in a lot of cases.
He added in a lot of Keshiks.
Full investment.
Yeah, yes, there's no doubt about it. He added he's double pumping Keshiks, which remember they're 200 normal, so you're paying 400 like toll. Like your economy just disappears straight away with this. So
apparently, it's fine with all those horses. Apparently, you can just deal with the mounted samurais in the numbers. I love the reinforcements here from the spearman as well, KP. He's just ensuring that he has an answer to anything Scarlet Devil is pushing out. The problem is just Scarlet Devil also has a lot of spears in his arsenal. Luckily for Corvinus, he cannot just produce so many because the berries are running out. Now he's going out onto the deer, so the food should skyrocket in a little bit, in theory. But unfortunately, Corvinus is right on top of it.
Not again.
He knows where the man is going to be heading, and
they pull away.
Villagers are still overstacked yet again. Too many villages for a tower, but this time they are just running for their lives.
Knights are there to receive this time around, though, so won't get smashed down the same way. We're kind of shocked that he just left that wide open. And now the 1-2 tap switcheroo. Corvinus comes in on the east side. It's about to turn into a game of tug and pull, and Scarlet's going to have to stretch himself thin here. Corvinus going in for the bow on the outpost. Does surround the workers. Going to be -5 there. And now the Samurai outnumbered on the west side. Up against the Keshik and Torgud with the buff damage. They'll clear him up there. Few of the Samurai do come across the east side, but there's plenty of spears remaining. And a lot of other time. I don't see how Scarlet is meant to weather the storm at this pacing. Corvinus' choice to double down and double again in the feudal, 100% the right call, as he will book himself that game 5.
And honestly, he did this with confidence. I cannot believe that early defense that he did with the spears, it was effective, but he stopped the spears and then he followed it up, made sure that he made ensured that they go to the back, slow down a little bit of that gold, and just keep doubling down. The towers, absolutely sublime, and Corvinus just showing us he deserves to be here. And now I'm actually so excited to see a 2-2 for this final qualification spot for them. They need to make sure that they give it their all. And Socotra is not the kind of map you want to be giving it your all. This is usually the map you want to use to get one ahead. But now it is the decider, and I am so excited to see what this looks like with the civilizations that they could be having on the board. So we'll be hopping into that one in a second to see exactly what was chosen here.
Really impressive game still, though. Like, Corvinus, I think he just kind of educated us like, hey, there are some things that are very similar to OG Mongols with this Civ. The outpost rush is a little bit funky, a little bit different, but has value. I think Scarlet Devil, in hindsight, is going to be looking back at that one like, trying to burn down the outpost, very difficult to do because they're a lot tankier. It did feel like there should have been a way of stopping the creep a bit. It's definitely a game both players going to be reviewing curiously, I imagine. But I called it. It's the Knights Templar Took choice. So Scarlet, he'll snipe out the Tuklak. We will be seeing Knights Templar. And Scarlet himself is going to have the English for this deciding game.
And I'm honestly so shocked to see the Tuklak getting sniped out. Because as you were analyzing it, it just made a lot of sense. You're not dealing with fishing Tuklak. You're just dealing with Tuklak. It's not a civilization that feels as scary without those advantages. But still, Scarlet Devil says it's a new Civ. I don't know what to expect out of this man. Let's just ban it. We know what to expect out of KT. It just feels a little bit easier. But now, English has been so powerful on this map. And that's something we just cannot scoff at. English has a lot of answers. And a lot of it centers around the boar pretty early on as well. A lot of civilizations just cannot shut that down. But KT has a pretty fast age up to be able to respond to something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought here. It's very interesting dynamics, right? Like, to the Tuklak, the Ibid bans, I think they're trying to minimize the healing potency on both sides. Because, fun little fact, if you look at all these Civ picks, every single one of them has feudal healing. That's a very interesting dynamic to consider on a map like Socotra that's all about aggression and how good people have gotten at utilizing early game healing efficiency to win games in less than 10 minutes. So, you take the Tuklak out because the elephants are insanely strong there. You take Ibids out because the dervishes are nuts. And that leaves, walk back home in healing versus I have weird Gandalf in Aragon armor healing. And you don't really want to build those healers as Knights Templar because you're against English. And Lombos, they snipe the Hospitaller quite well because the lower armor. So, yeah, a little bit of an interesting thought here. Maybe instead we just see French commandery. So then you have a French knight, because on this map, there is a concern that English could easily go Council Hall.
Yeah, in the Council Hall, we haven't seen it a lot, but it still shows us a lot of that early aggression it's pretty much unmatched for a lot of civs. And especially with KT, if they were to respond to this, they are going to have to spend a lot of resources to catch up on that when English has a safe wood line. In this case, might even have a safe boar. And that's exactly what we see early game here. The fight around the boar. And the villagers are coming in hard. Corvinus, though, he needs to be careful. These are short bows, and they are...
Oh, he's already dead on one. Oh. He's legit already dead on one, right? You got to get that. Yeah, on the entry, you're going to lose one. So we need to flip the colors around. Yellow is going to be English. This is Corvinus pushing in the red, trying to shiv him down. It's not going to work. I was like, wait a second. This doesn't make sense. Now it does. Corvinus in a bit of a sticky situation, really. He's going to go for a wall off. Why?
Those short bows are going to be very happily firing around. And they fire yet at another villager. 2 villagers already down this early on in the game.
Yeah, he has enough to kill.
3rd villager.
He can literally kill you here. It's crazy, actually, that he even tried to wall that. Reload. One more down. Oh, no!
I don't really know if we have to keep casting KP. This is...
I'm just, the color switch at the beginning just made it a mind fudge. Because, on approach, there was something really important happening there that would have been better otherwise. And it's the fact that when it looks like yellow is the English shortbow rusher and secondary to do so, yellow was going to lose his scout. Which meant that stealth forest would have allowed Knights Templar to fight English villagers because they can't see anything, right? They're like me when I take my glasses off. So that differential, for a moment, made that look mind-bogglingly different on the opening. Until you saw the shortbows fight, oh no, this is simple. Okay, it's just English doing English things. what does Knights Templar do now? Because congrats, your 4 workers down, and when you tech, you're going to be more down.
Yeah, now this is going to be Corvinus having to perform miracles, because we already talked about the fact that English has that huge power spike on in feudal, with just having usually control of the map, usually having a much better vision, because if you reinforce your English army with the towers, you just have such a nice little advantage with all of this. Safe wood, you don't get to actually do damage against them. Corvinus is going to need to age up here with a miracle. I have no idea what this man could do unless he gets a horse on top of a ton of villagers, Scarlet Devil DCs. This is going to be a very tough game for Scarlet Devil to lose.
I mean, you want a miracle. He's playing Knights Templar, basically an entire holy order. So, you know, technically made up of miracles. They got plenty of trinkets around about. And wait, what the No, no.
Oh, no.
What? Wait, why?
Oh, no.
Why is this version of Socotra so weird? Actually, this is ladder Socotra.
We just got whispered by our producer here at the back and asking where the gold was. But so this is a bugged spawn for Scarlet Devil. But you guys need to keep in mind, when you get a bugged spawn, you usually want to remake. After you've killed 4 villagers, you do not want to remake. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You just take it.
It like, look at his tree line. It looks like Marshall from How I Met Your Mother after he just shaved down the center of his head. Like, what? Where is it? He has so little wood in his base, actually. It's pretty tilting to realize after an insane opening like that this is your spawn.
Now, he does go for the Abbey of Kings on that gold, but Corvinus realizes, hey, you're all the way out here. We talked about a miracle, KP.
Mm-hmm.
The gold being this far out might be that miracle that he would need to actually do the damage. But still, it's still a far stretch.
Could you imagine just like Corvinus just all chat typing, are you sure you don't want to re? Like, because
yes, if you donate 4 villagers to me.
Yeah, he's like, I'm totally game for remake if you want a remake. It's like, I know he's maybe considering 2TC, so maybe it's a good deal for me. In fact, is he not already on the... He is. Corvinus is on the stone.
He is. Yeah, already going onto the stone. It makes a lot of sense. This man, he needs the villagers back. And if, by some miracle, Scarlet Devil does not find a way to do damage with him going for the stone, this could be okay in the long run. But Corvinus now getting 5 on the stone here. And this is pretty standard for a lot of civs, but we do see some of them just going 4, but you know that there's a king coming eventually. Knights Hospitalier being the choice here. And you mentioned earlier, this is not something that they usually want to go for. More on stone to resume.
Yeah, I mean, Hospitalia, like, the idea is kind of cool here, right? It just makes your villages more tanky. For the men-at-arms themselves, not really that desirable with the threat of Lombos, but I think, genuinely, we're just going to see 2TC on 2TC. I don't think this is going to be a very fast game of Socotra.
And you would expect it to be a very fast game on Socotra after 4 villager kills, but no. These guys, spicy as ever. Let's go see where those villagers go. Going right back to the gold here. They do have the choice of redirecting themselves onto the stone, but we do see an archery range also being plopped down. Ladies and gents, that is going to be aggression from Mr. Scarlet Devil here. Is English going to be the devil civilization yet again? Oh, yes. If your opponent lost 4 villages to you in the early game, definitely.
Hey, but you know, like, may have lost 4 villages, but at least I know where my gold is, okay? So, you know, swings and roundabouts, I'm afraid, here. So it looks like Corvinus is probably... Is he going to secure the deer? It would make sense to try and secure a deer with a TC drop here.
With a second TC against English longbows, it doesn't feel like a free secure for you, at least, because they still outrange that second TC, don't they?
Longbows, yeah. But the thing is, if you push the TC further forward, you can hide behind it. He hasn't done that, though. He's actually left himself exposed here on the gold.
So, doing this, although it is exposed from the water side, as we can see there, this could be just shut down with a few ships. And Scarlet Devil can opt that way. He's got 10 on wood. This could just turn into a ton of longbows. But at the same time, you could put pressure on your opponent from the other side too. Especially when he sees now there's no way he's going to be able to attack, at least for now. So Corvinus getting that second TC there means that that wood line is quite secure for a bit. So there might be a method to this madness.
Cute campfire idea there. Lombos are starting to arrive, Spimmin as well. I mean, the idea here is that Lombos shouldn't be able to get kills easily. You have 15 more HP. You're basically a Gilded Villager on HP. And he is at least concaving the tree line, so it's not like you can easily see in if you're Scarlet. He's going to try to approach. The king can dive and give that vision. That's the only trade-off I'd say here that's awkward. And, like, you'd think just build spears, lol. But against Lombos, you never want to build spears.
So what is the unit that Corvinus potentially could make to handle this? And I mean, right now, nothing. The poor guy cannot afford a single thing.
Archers.
He says
Yeah.
archers.
It has to be,
Just-
right? It's like your
Just
only
get
good
archers.
friend. Yeah, but look, Scarlet, just get men at arms, lol. He's already thinking about it.
Getting that first upgrade for them already is going to mean that he's going to need a lot of archers to deal with this. But when you are diving your fellow opponent here, you want to have those chunky boys to tank most of the TC shots. And with those guys, that is exactly what he's going to be able to manage to do. We see the longbows trying to pivot towards another space where they could potentially do some damage. But right now, Corvinus is making sure that he just produces as much as he can. No villagers on gold. He doesn't need it right now. He says, I just need resources to make sure I have the archer numbers to handle this.
Does he have the food numbers, though?
Ooh. But hold on. Scarlet Devil is going for a fast castle?
It
Medium
looks
castle?
like it.
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Maybe
Men-at-Arms
more medium
checked
rare.
out
Okay,
again.
like, because he hasn't dropped a blacksmith yet, no? Like, that would explain the gold right now. Yeah, no blacksmiths. And you're against archers, so you kind of want it yesterday. Especially considering it's 2 TC plus archer mass.
And now Corvinus is equalizing that villager count, but now he gets to start playing the game. And this is where you have such a big disadvantage already. You now finally get to that even playing field. I say even, but you have a slightly elevated playing field for English right now. Because he's still got that farm transition up and running, so this is not a concern for him at all. And that king can't just sneak by here. He needs to be careful of this TC fire. This is going to be critical to ensure he keeps control of something like that gold.
I feel like I feel like there's usually more room to run around the back of the TCs on this map. Maybe I'm just imagining it, but
It does feel a bit huggy. So, like, longbowing to try and dive much more difficult. I would have expected Scarlet to maybe try and sneak an archer ship, but considering it's only archer mass, doesn't really help him at all. We do have a gate now coming in, and this is the value transition point, right? It was expensive for Corvinus to do this, but now you see the upside of getting that wall up. It's such a Benny Hills advantage. Like, oh, you're about to backstab me? Walk through wall. Oh, you're about to hit me from your base? Walk through wall.
And him having all these archers here means he might be able to snipe a villager or two, but no, the villagers do make it out with that wheelbarrow. They're running at the speed of light trying to get back to safety. And he will lose all of these archers. He does take a villager as a victim, though. But losing all these archers is not the end of the world for him. He's got the resources behind this. We can see he's spending every bit of resource he has to just make units. And what he's doing is he's forcing his opponent to chase him instead of putting pressure on that TC that he just needs to start doing the talking.
Tech up time. Age free, about to be on the agenda for Scarlet. Question is he going to mirror the value of the TC, or do we see something a little bit more aggressive, like a white tower drop towards the center?
Now, the white tower would make a lot of sense on a villager now moving out here. That villager is still running back, technically. But he's got his villagers out here to try and make that decision for him. With this amount of vills, though, you feel pretty good about the white tower rush, and that's
Just do it.
exactly what we're seeing.
Drop it in his face. You know, maybe not too deep because the archer count, but like just think about the logic here. There's only one landmark, and you can build trebuchets out of a white tower. He goes into the stealth forest, but Corvinus does see him straight away. Scarlet, that was a little bit greedy. His archers are catching up, so he will be able to return to his duties here. And Corvinus, he is at least playing a Civ that can fast tech. Remember, it doesn't take Knights Templar long to mirror the play if they can just get the resources together.
Now, he pulls the king back, but the king is not going to be enough because the rest of the army is still there standing at the front. So the king might be a little bit engaged, but it's maybe... Ooh, oh my goodness. Is this the
what?
play we've been looking for. The villagers are ready to fight this, but they're fighting against men-at-arms. They're going straight for the villagers, trying to get us around here. And now they're going to be fighting against so much. But that wall, KP, the wall came in clutch. And he's just killing every single villager.
He needed to pull more than this. This is not working. This is ridiculous. Shiv's out. The longbows, the A-clicks are all over the place. They're not doing the trades they're looking for. And that is going to be a doubtful tower for Scarlet. That's game.
I'm speechless.
That's game. There's nothing left. Come on.
More villagers have been pulled, and they are going to be fighting against these others. But there's archers, and the longbow numbers are just not matched here. The villagers need to start burning that. Oh, but they build a tower, and the burns have come in, so he cannot even get the full refund here. And even if he does, oh no, he did get quite a bit of resources back here, though.
I mean, he did, but he left quite a few things behind as well. Most notably, villages. Villages are kind of important to most things in Age of Empires 4. Oh my god.
And you guys might be saying, yeah, they killed almost equal amounts of villagers, but you have to keep in mind, Corvinus, he's the man on 2TC. And KP, I asked for a miracle. Corvinus, you received the gold spawn all the way out there.
Yeah.
Secondly, you received the gift of a bunch of villagers just dropping a white tower on his archers. And that was exactly what this man needed to stay in this game and just run away with it.
I mean, you just imagine, like, just in Corvinus's room in prep for this game is loading in. Dear God, I don't really ask for much. And he's just got, like, soundtracks playing in the background, like, just to really set the mood. If you give me this one win to qualify for the road to Red Bull Wololo, I'll go to church every Saturday. I won't ask anything else of you. And it's looking like the prayers may be paying off. I mean, sure, the tech up has happened for Scarlet, but Corvinus, he can just mirror the timing now.
Now, Scarlet realizes he's got the timing here. He needs to do something with this. Instantly queues up those 2 knights. He doesn't have any other gold in his vision and arsenal because Corvinus, he secured that gold all the way from the back, ensuring that the villagers have no other recourse. And where's the second gold? You may ask, what second gold? It's all the way on the other side.
That's the second gold. Up here, that makes sense. That's good balance to get people to play up onto the map, you know? And I mean, at this stage, is there just a chance that there's some sort of like messaging loophole where you can argue that your remake question mark was 15 minutes delayed in-game chatting? Because it can be very slow sometimes, you know?
I didn't realize what my spawn looked like. I only saw that after I lost all my villagers to the White Tower. Where am I gonna get my second gold?
He's like, sorry, I was playing the game on 4:3 ratio, so it actually kind of looked like a circle.
No gold on the side of this map. And we did, by the way, guys, this might be a bug spawn, but we do have confirmation that there will be an EGC version by the main event next weekend. So for all the pros in the chat sitting here thinking, oh my goodness, what if this happens to me? Do not fear, EGC custom maps are near.
This is like your marketing. Like we create the map in the future. It's like the marketing move here. It's like the equivalent of trying to sell someone life insurance and them going, I don't need life insurance. And then you're just shooting the person next to them. Like, you probably need life insurance. I mean, pro players, if you download the wrong Socotra, this could be you.
Good luck, have fun. I see there's a little bit of a meme there in the chat as both players on the EGC version spawn without gold. So it is going to be even. Now, I want you guys to notice here that Corvinus, he doesn't have a lot of food here. He's got everything on gold. And is that just because of the spearmen that we are going to need to afford? Are they very expensive?
They're pretty food demanding. Like, whenever you want to melee a blob, it's a very high price to pay on food. Like, even the crossbows as well, that's pretty food dense, right? So everything he needs really revolves around the idea of food. But, you know, the interesting part here is, like, this game should be over, but Corvus doesn't have much food. And the trebuchets, like Scarlet has said to hell with this, I may be down almost 25 workers, but you still only have one landmark.
And that landmark looks pretty juicy here with one ram just hammering away now slowly at the houses. Corvinus does not have access to the wood like he did before. You can see the villagers now, they were getting food, passive food from this wood as well, but the farming eco that he's trying to set up is taking quite a while. He does have these heavy spearmen, and the numbers are looking decent, but the crossbow follow-up is coming in pretty quickly. Scarlet Devil now already having 3 in queue there. He needs to try and find a way to kill as much as possible before this 2TC economy shows him exactly what he's been missing. That's so much. So many villages on gold, KP.
Treb's ready to roll. Gonna be a pop-lock situation to slow down Corvinus. I mean, it's just weird looking at this game. This should have been over. When the White Tower failed, it should have been done. But, Corvinus doesn't have the army yet. And it's one thing to have an economy lead, it's another to use it. He's struggling to find ways of using these workers.
We do see a few Knights Hospitalier coming in now, and that might just be so he can try and heal up anything that tries to take some damage. But the crossbow numbers from him, is this going to be just sniped down pretty quickly by... Oh, never mind, I was going to say by the longbows, but they're still feudal age. He's not going to be making anything else like this, yeah. Longbows are just not going to be part of this fight whatsoever. We do see the boys now moving in closer to the food. We do see us around, and a few of the villages will go down. But even if they do go down, it feels okay.
The bigger problem here that's not okay is the amount of time he keeps losing houses. Corvinus is sick and tired of this crap, so he pulls out now to try and deal with the trebuchets. Scarlet overextended. Sacked his own siege. 1 treb down, second one running away. And this is unfortunate for him. Like, look at the vision. Corvinus, he hid the rest of the houses behind the tree line. So Scarlet didn't have that consistent population denial.
And he did a pretty good job at that for a while, but the problem is now with the houses being rebuilt, you have to consider he doesn't have a lot of wood. So with the trebuchets, if they stayed alive, this could have been so critical for Corvinus, because Corvinus was not going to be able to afford repairing that 1 TC he's had and rebuilding houses at the same time. Now, a lot of units died here. We see all the villagers going straight for the gold. He is just using that market and exchanging as needed. Mangonel now firing here too, which is going to mean the villagers need to back off, and that wood denial is still pretty heavy here.
And that gold, look how fast he's trying to harvest through that. This doesn't feel like a comfortable position to find yourself in right now. Second mango out for Corvinus. There's not much in the way of anti-siege here for Scarlet is the problem, right? Like his only way of easily dealing with them is to have more siege, which the numbers aren't really supporting currently.
The problem is Corvinus might have this ability to have more villagers now, but they don't have anything to do. All of these villagers are just standing around waiting for better days. You see a lot of them going idle. Did you see them standing there at the back just thinking about what are these possibilities?
Planning a coup.
Now firing. Getting an okay shot here, but the second shot hits a few longbows, but that's not when you want to be killing it just yet. He does get another one off. And now you actually got a few victims out there, KP.
Yeah, but the problem here is you need kills, right? Because remember, as soon as you stop fighting, oh look, every damaged piece gets healed off. So that's why Corvinus is now double downing. He needs enough mangoes to secure guaranteed kills. The interesting thing though is like Corvinus, there is a weird play you could try to attempt here to get out your base. He has already got a dock. What's a transport ship between friends? I mean, there's no way Scarlet sees literally every piece of this map. Right?
He's trying to do... and he's trying to do a little bit of damage to this tower before the emplacement comes. You can't see when that is about to hit, but hallelujah, you shouldn't see the moment... Oh, that's about to finish, and this tower is going to take a little bit longer to die.
He's diving Aura.
We'll know.
Like, this oh my god.
Forward.
Guys, calm down. That's a stockpile you can't really afford right now. The mango does get paid under the wrong unit, though. But this is the thing, even if he gets rid of this outpost, Warman, there's still an attack speed aura to fight into here.
And the villagers are going straight for the trebuchet. He says, I have 2 TC, I can replace these. It's fine. I'm just going to get rid of this. I don't have the wood. I'd rather sacrifice some of these vills.
King.
Anything else, though?
Can you get the
have a front line.
Okay, you gotta fit. The healing is still gonna be there for Scarlet.
Villagers apparently the strongest army that this man has right now, and the wood just constantly getting denied, and that's just the beauty of English here. With that king, you can just constantly heal up, run around, and now all of a sudden that gold you had to go for all the way on the side of Corvinus' base feels pretty okay, because your villagers are right there ready to rebuild everything and anything they need to.
Same mentality we had early in the series of Front Range, the design of that map, right? Socotra can play similar at times, but the woodlands are meant to push you left and right. But from Scarlet's position, doesn't really feel that threatened, that impacted. Corvinus is quickly running out of anything to harvest here. He's on his final trees. He's actually starting to creep out to the east side unnoticed. Our ship is going to be a nuisance here. There isn't a gold in the base to harass, but there are farms. And the scout, yes, he does have vision here. So you could actually just send a few horsemen over here to be a right nuisance. Scarlet is even going for veterancy on the ponies, so he will have a counter solution to Corvinus's mechanical army.
Now, this is starting to become a very scary army with a lot of horsemen in the mix as well. There's just no response here from Corvinus. We do see the siege trying to fire away at frontline. There's lots of springles, but is this going to be enough? Apparently it is. Villagers absorbing so much of the damage, and there is more to come. This 2TC is just pumping further away. Now the tower getting shut down here at the front, and Scarlet Devil, he's starting to take these trades very badly.
This is getting a little bit red flaggy. Corvinus is being allowed to spread wider and wider. I'm surprised Scarlet is just, there we go, peeling the cavalry and going. Because, like, he has the wall now to fall behind if he gets pushed on the center. Yeah, the interesting thing with this game right now is Archer shit, like, he hasn't got an easy way of reacting to it. And he set up all his farms defensively. So critical that he gets this denial of field on the other side. There's a full dive come. Oh my dear God, where is the army? Wasting a lot of time on 1 minute arms. The Springalds are bulking in force, by the way. Corvinus about to crack double digits to try and deal with anything that isn't on horseback here.
Now, he's doubling down on these units because he doesn't have the food to sustain anything. But apparently, he has enough to make all the siege in the world. The villagers now, the boys are pulled, KP, and yet again, another trebuchet pays the price.
And Mango as well.
Mango rest in pieces.
Scarlet is just trusting the auto pathing out on newly freshly spawned units. However, look at this. There's no front line. He pulled the villagers so far away that now you can access the siege. So goes in on the Springles and the Mangoes. Shivs are now going to come out. There's only one Mango to try and return fire against the cluster of workers. I love that. He stops shivving them. He just sticks them to default formation, so he gets more body block effect here. Throws the torches at the Mango. Who needs an army when you can just have workers?
And he's got so many of them to go around. He just says, I need more food, guys. Let's just get on the deer. I need this. So on the other side, though, Corvinus, it just seems like he is on wood as much as he can. No gold left, but it's fine. He's going to keep moving out. Now, going onto the stone means that he might even be able to get his second landmark, which, you know, at this point, might be a bit of a game changer.
It does make Knights Templar sound a bit crap, doesn't it? When you say at 24 minutes, they might get their second landmark. Wait, there's still a Mango? Okay, he does realize. Because one Mango could change it all, man. These villages are obnoxiously tanky, by the way. Remember, it's Knights Hospitalaire, and I'm pretty sure Corvinus got textiles. Yeah, gilded villager health right there. That's why this is working, by the way. Without that extra health, I don't think it's anywhere near as effective.
Scarlet Devil, he is just relying on the fact that this white tower is going to be great at producing things, but the problem is he doesn't have the numbers anymore. This is now his bleeding villagers, even here at the back on the farms. It is just a constant onslaught. And now his gold is about to be denied as well. Not that Corvinus is in a much better gold position himself. Nobody has relics, do they? No, nobody has relics.
They haven't been picked up.
I haven't thought about that yet, but the boys...
That'll give you goals. Get your short bows out. They're all injured. Oh my God, this game.
Scarlet Devil being as ignorant as a man without an eye. Oh, wait. Never mind. He put on his little glasses and he sees it's over. He sees it's over. Corvinus, well deserved. Welcome, Corvinus, to the top 16. You deserved it. You gave us the show we didn't know we needed. 4 villages down in the first few minutes and already brings back the most deadly of victories.
And a man who looked dead at the start of the series as well. I mean, this is the thing. You have to remember Corvinus. He thrives in the uncomfort. The further off the beaten path we go, the better and better he feels. You saw that when he brought out the brand spanking new civs. You see it even here in a map like Socotra, just thinking 2TC Knights Templar. Not your normal aligned strategies, let alone the villager army conscription. But yeah, props to him. Congratulations. He will be the first player from qualifier number 2 to make it to the Road to Red Bull Wololo event. Scarlet Devil, there has to be a bitter taste in this one, man. These games made no freaking sense.
Honestly, I feel like most players will sit there after a game and analyze and say, hey, why I lost this? I didn't do X, Y, and Z. Scarlet's gonna sit there and be like, I have no idea how to play this game. And Corvinus, same thing. He's just gonna look at this and be like, interesting. On to the next one. What will the new civilization bring me? And apparently Katie is just new enough to bring out the best of Corvinus, as we know. So guys, I'm so glad we got to sit through all of this. I was so worried this was going to be a 3-0, but Corvinus, he brought this back in the most fashionable way. So, hats off. After this, though. Yeah?
Well, after this, it could get weirder. I mean, the best way to summarize that, like, write out the plans, by the way, is more like, you know, Scarlet's there with a pen. He's writing, like, a little diagram of how things went. And then as the series goes on, it's just him frustratingly scribbling on the paper, right? More and more pented frustration building up. I think that's the primer for Corvinus. I think that game 3, just kind of pulling a tooth out there and switching things up really was what he needed. Because we mentioned the whole idea of tempo and momentum, but I think we still have crazy ahead of us, man.